Hello all, this is Mrs. Farrell with your Math for Unit 1, Lesson 3 Honors Hints. So for this question, problem number 23, it talks about the number of sunlight hours in a day. And obviously the sunlight hours in days in winter are much shorter than the sunlight hours in days in the summer. So it says the summer solstice is around June 21st. The winter solstice is around December 21st. But they want you to start this periodic graph on March 21st. So it says in Chicago, the longest day has about 15 hours of sunlight, and the shortest day has about 9 hours of sunlight. And they want you to use March 21st as a starting point and come up with an A, B, and C that are able to model this situation in a sine curve. So hint number 1, use Desmos and sliders to play with different values for A, B, and C. And think about the number of hours you would start with on March 21st. So what number of hours is midway between the longest day and the shortest days? And is that number, that midway point, going to be connected to your A, your B, or your C in the equation? Just a reminder, those values affect amplitude, period, and displacement. Hopefully you know which of those affects which of those things. So let me show you a little bit in Desmos really quick. So you can go to Desmos and you can set up y equals a sine bx plus c. Notice it needs x's and y's in Desmos, so you can't use t's in this one, so you have to replace that with an x. Also make sure in your tools that you have this set for radians. So click on that little wrench and make sure this is set for radians, and you can mess around with your x-axis and your y-axis and try out different minimums and maximums for those values. And when you put these sliders on, you can mess with the different A values and B values and C values, and you can see how those affect your graph. And then once you figure out how to get that A, B, and C, you can plug those in there to see if you're right. You can also change if negative 10 to 10 isn't big enough. You can change these to go to any values that you want. Okay, and that'll make your steps be able to go up higher or lower. So that's your hint to get started on that. So first you're going to talk about where's the midway point, and is that your A, B, or C in the equation. Another hint is think about the difference between the longest and shortest days. So that difference between your highest point and your lowest point, how do these relate to the max and min of your function? Will that affect A, B, or C in the equation? And then the last hint, probably a little bit tougher one, what will be the period of your function? In other words, how long should it take to go through a whole cycle for the length of days? And is that going to be affecting your A, B, or C in your equation? So once you have your equation, the next part of the problem, part B, says what variation or how can you change that equation so that I can start on January 1st instead of starting on March 21st? And they actually give you some hints there, but I'm going to give you a little bit more of a hint. What kind of transformation will make the graph start at January 1st instead of March 21st? Is it a stretch, a slide, or a compression? And which direction will it go? And how are you going to represent that transformation in your equation? So think about those things and put that into your original equation you came up with on part A. And then I will leave you with this. What did the sine and cosine graphs say to each other? Nothing. They just